But what I do know that you care about is, isn't this weekend a very special anniversary?
Past weekend was.
Oh, this past weekend was. We forgot to mention it last week. You reminded me to mention it, and then we forgot because we got off on like other discussions.
Well, the big thing was the Patreon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, we were doing the Patreon list, and that turned into a longer than thing.
Yes.
And I knew we had to get to the other show, and I was like, like I wasn't gonna ham fist it in, if that makes any sense.
Right.
And we had a decent show, so I was like, we'll get it. And then once it was gone, it was gone. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, blah blah blah. But it was Saturday the 25th of November was 10 years from the kerfuffle.
And you're doing good. You're doing well.
My doctor says, I'm not going to have heart attacks anymore or any less.
There you go.
No, it seems to be working good. So I feel good. Other than I know I'm getting older, Joe. Mm-hmm. I know I'm getting older. Ugh. So.
Well, time is passing. It's been anyway. Yeah, crazy to think about. You know,
the 2 times we missed the show, Joe.
Right. It was that, and we were transferring over from one network to another, right?
Right. We were regenerating into the new show.
That's a thing that I understand now.
Right. Well, I even remember when we did it. I think when we switched over the account name on X.
Yeah. Don't call it that.
I'm a cop, man. When we switched it over, I think you even said, like, what regeneration is this? It might still be in the X, profile.
If it is, I'm going to take it out right now. No, it's gone. It's been gone for a while. It says a weekly comic book podcast covering the actual books, news, TV, movies, and more. Bonus content at the Patreon. Right. But it did say, you know what? It probably was there about what regeneration is this until we got a Patreon.
Right. So I'm fine with that.
And then I'm like, we need to update the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the 2 times. So we're no days off for us.
That's right. There was content, even if it was pre-recorded. There was always content. Right.
I remember doing an interview with Matt. I remember other stuff we did. Like when we went away on vacation, I went to New York. We did whatever we had to do. No days off for us. No load management. I don't take time off to watch little football games or anything like that. I'm a man, intent on doing the show.
And that's what I like to hear. What I also want to hear is, so you just mentioned you were recently in New York for New York Comic Con.
Right.
And you were there for a couple days. And I don't remember if I'd asked you about this. Mm-hmm. But it was brought up to me today, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it.
Okay.
So I'm going to New York this weekend for the day, right?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. There's no bowl, like Aces Bowling is usually on Saturday, but the alley is reserved because there's a big tournament there this weekend.
Okay.
Apparently. So they're like, no league for the kids this weekend. We're going to have people in here that actually make us money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys can go screw. And
is
then
it Jerry?
No, so that's the thing. I don't know if there's heat because like we go on Thursday nights and then Jerry bowls at the smaller alley across town on Thursday nights.
Right.
So I don't know if he's practicing there in secret so no one can see what he's up to.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back over here in the Stan Malibu garb and he's a different guy,
Right. His first ever bowling gimmick as a wrestler. But go ahead.
Right. It'd be like the 6th, but yes.
Right, but
so the first plan was going to be WWE is in town, literally Allentown, this weekend for a house show, non-TV. And I was thinking, because my little nephew's into it, and I floated it by my brother, I'm like, do you think he would sit for it? Do you think he'd be okay? Do you think? And he's like, nah, not yet. I go, okay, no problem. I just wanted to float it past you because I could probably get tickets. We can go. I'll keep my eyes peeled next time that they're in town for not TV because WWE TV could be a slog. in one respect that it's like 3+ hours. Another respect is like you got the lights, you got the fireworks, the whole to do.
The downtime, yeah, everything.
Right. But with the house show, it's like literally get you in, get you out in 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you ran a what if by your brother. So
right. Never a no, always a what if, right? Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, okay, well, that's off the table. How about we go to New York? We'd planned on it like the last couple of years to go once the tree was up, like do like the touristy thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're driving to the city Saturday morning, driving out Saturday night. You know, I'm no coward. I
love when you paint me with that broad yellow.
No, I'm not painting you with that brush. I'm painting everyone who's afraid to drive into the city with that brush.
Mm-hmm.
But when I mentioned it,
I think it's focused. I think it's focused, but go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
But I had mentioned it to some of my coworkers because I'm in training this week, which we'll get into.
Right.
The one of the guys mentioned because he's in Texas, we all work remote or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, you know what? You got to be careful of in New York. The rat problem is way overboard. Like I see these YouTube videos of just the streets swimming with rats.
Pizza rat, right? Yeah, go ahead.
So Todd, you were there in New York for like the better part of 4 days, and you were there early in the morning, getting up, getting your bagel. Mm-hmm. You were there late at night, closing out the convention. How many rats did you see?
You want an honest number?
Yes.
1.
Yeah.
I did see one. I remember us walking back I think it was because it was dark and I forget where we were walking. I don't remember if it was me, Josh, and Tom or just me and Tom at that point. Mm-hmm. And I came around the corner and it scared the hell out of me just because it was like, oh my God, it's coming right at me. And then it kind of like shimmied into like a stoop somewhere or in between like a crack in a door. I don't know exactly because I vaguely remember, but there was a rat and it came at me and then it turned. And I was like, oh, and that it's just funny that you asked me that. I did see one.
Yeah, one. But was it a daytime rat or a nighttime rat?
Nighttime rat.
Nighttime rat. Okay.
It was definitely not. I think we were coming back from getting something to eat.
There you go.
That we were, because if it was nighttime, because in October the sun goes down after 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ish 6 o'clock, 7. So we usually leave the con around. Oh, maybe it was us leaving the con because Artist Alley closes at 8. So I do think it was us leaving the con, heading back either to the bus station or going to get food. So it was around like 8-ish, 7:30, 8:30.
Right.
Not the middle of the night or anything.
Right. But like this guy was very concerned. He's like, "Oh, be careful." He's like, "I'll never go to New York because of that." I've seen the YouTube videos of it, and my kids showed me the YouTube videos of it as well. And I'm like, this feels very isolated. This feels very specific.
Right.
Like,
when there's flooding, it pushes the rats out kind of a deal.
Yeah. If you're in the subways very early in the morning or very late at night, I could see this happening. But like.
And when I went a year ago or so, when I went to that Jack White concert in the Bronx, we had to take the subway.
Yes.
And I went down and I saw nothing. I saw no scary homeless men. But I will say, call me a coward. I will not stand next to the platform waiting for the train.
Right. Now, see, I won't take the train, period. I'll walk. Like,
well, we couldn't walk to Brooklyn from Manhattan.
You could.
Yeah. I don't walk from my bed to my toilet. So
you could walk from anywhere to anywhere, technically. But right. Yes.
But yeah, when we went down, I was like, look, but I won't stand like there. I'm prime bait to be pushed under a subway.
No, but I'll like I said, listen, I'm not saying coward thing. The subway is very confusing to me.
Oh, I'll say this. Listen, I love people who do things for me.
Yes.
So Josh was with me, and Josh whether he downloaded the app or he was on the website, he's like, we got to get on this train to this. We got to go this to that. And boom, we were right there. Came out at I forget what the Barclay Center. We found the pizza. Like it was everything we needed. Then he was like, we got to get on this, and this gets us back, and this brings us out on this corner. And I'm like, great. Thank you. Wonderful. The only mistake we made was we overfilled our Metro cards. That was it, because we didn't know. We couldn't find any information on what was from Manhattan to Brooklyn. So we thought it was $6 one way, but it was $3 one way. So we put 12 on each of our cards to be safe.
Gotcha.
Right. And when we found out, it only took $3, whatever it was, we doubled the money. So I basically gave my card to Josh because his brother lives in New York and he uses the subway all the time. And I'm like, here's money. Do with it what you will, because there's no fun. But anyway, no rats when I was down there either.
Because when we were there over the summer, we were on the other side of the island for the Pokemon stuff. And my in-laws were like, oh my God, I would never go to New York. The homeless problem. And you mentioned that. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I've been going to New York since the mid 90s. And, I tell this story. I went to New York when Doug always talks that New York got ruined by Giuliani and Disney. Yes. Because where are you going to see the perverts, after that? I went before Giuliani cleaned up. We used to go out to, me and my friends in high school, we'd take the bus in and go to, what was the toy place that they had there all the time? FAO Schwartz. FAO Schwartz, yeah. Go see that, and I'll never forget walking in New York. Me, another guy, and two women, we were walking. As we were walking, they have, those scaffoldings in front of the building. They're always fixing something in New York. And we're walking. Always. And we were walking, and there was this group of young street toughs behind us. And as we were walking, I hear clang. I've told this story before. I might have told this on the show, but I'll tell it again. It's been a long time. Go ahead. Right. And all of a sudden, I hear clang, clang, clang. And we turn around, and it's the young street toughs with their knives out looking at us, banging them on the scaffolding. And I was like, if it goes, run. I'll take the stabs because I'm not getting 50 feet before they catch me. Uh-huh. So I'll sacrifice myself. Run. You're all fit. Go for it. But we managed to get away from them. They didn't come after us. So I guess I look too intimidating, Joe. Yes. And again, I don't even know. What? Because I had been to New York a bunch of times, 94, 95, 96. Mm-hmm. You'd mentioned where you have somebody who does it for you, and this is when former show partner of the soon-to-be-named network, Parlance of Fresher and Parlance, flashback, throwback, whatever. When he was going to NYU, I would go up and see him. I would take the bus in, and I would stay with him, and we'd whatever, right? Right. And he always took care of me on the subway. I'd go with him and he goes, just follow me. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't pay attention. I'm just following, Pete. Right. Mm-hmm. And we slept out on the street for tickets and stuff. Oh, yeah. 96, 97, never had an issue. It was just, I don't know. I just never saw the problems that everyone else saw. And then even in 2023 as an adult, but, obviously I was doing that. And then I was also driving down to Philly for ECW shows. And the one time, again, we're talking about stories that we've told before. And this would be a nice thing to get away from my work stuff. Okay. So the one time, sometimes it would be me, my brother Tony, my friend Brian. Sometimes it'd just be me and Tony. Sometimes it'd just be me and Brian. And sometimes it'd be myself. No, okay. Different Brian. Right. Sometimes it'd just be by myself. Nobody could go, but I'm like, I want to go see ECW. I'll meet, I have friends that drive up from Virginia and other, attention deficit criminals. I got friends there, right? Yeah, that's a strong word for attention deficit criminals, but okay. And then one time on my way back by myself, my car broke down on 95. Right. So I walked back. Again, this was 1990. This would have been May, June of 1998, somewhere in that neck of the woods, right? Mm-hmm. So I walk back, I'm not that far from the exit. I could see the gas station, and I could see the Tony Luke's, and I could see the whatever. I'm like, okay, I can just walk in this direction to get to a pay phone because I didn't have a cell phone, right? It was it would have been 1 o'clock in the morning, right? Right. So I go back, I call my dad, the only person I know is reliable and can come get me and would be willing to drive to Philly. All my friends were either State College, NYU, didn't have cars, whatever, right? So I call my dad. I know it's going to be a while. I do go spend a couple hours in the gentleman's establishment across the way.
Right.
Until they close, and then I still got to wait another hour. And listen, I'm 20 by myself in a convenience store in South Philly, alone, right? Mm-hmm. I was a little nervous. And my dad comes and gets me, and he's like, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh my God, thank goodness you're here, Dad. We'll get home, screw the car, we'll just leave it on the side of the road. We'll worry about it another day." And I'm like, "Oh my God," I go, I was getting worried, I was nervous, and everything else like that. And my dad says to me, he goes, "Now, granted, I didn't look like what I look like now then, but maybe like 150 pounds less, maybe like a little less hair, not much less hair,
Right.
But my dad says, he goes, "What did you have to worry about? You look like one of those damn Samoans anyway, when no one would have bothered you."
Jesus Christ.
You had no idea where that was going.
No. So I'm glad we got there, though.
Yes.
Every time, back when we used to go to New York for the comic convention, Tom would drive.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is as you're coming in. Like, I don't want to say it's not Camden, because that's in Philly. Isn't Camden in Philly?
Camden's like New Jersey, right outside of Philly, like literally like one exit over. Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of, like, you get off that exit, and it's like shithole central, like dangerous fucking, area.
Okay.
And we would always come in, and this was before GPS. And I'd always say, like, the first time we did it, Tom was like, "You ever just like get confused, like before GPS, before
yes,
you just had maps? It was like, all right, do we stay in the right or do we stay in the left?" Tom stayed to the right or whatever, and we get off, and we're in. I'm just gonna call it Camden, but it's not Camden. And we fucking pull off, and like literally, we're driving, and as soon as you get off the exit, there's literally 2 cop cars parked right there watching people come like down the thing. And we drive a little further, and it's like boarded up house, all with Escalades in the front yards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we are in the wrong fucking neighborhood. And I was like, somebody said it. I won't take credit for it. All I remember is saying, yeah, those cops were sitting at the exit going, "There go a couple of dead white boys," right? So we get out, we get turned around. Joe, we remember that. We were terrified. How many more times do you think Tom fucking took that exit? Like going in every year to New York Comic Con.
I'd say at least 2 to 3 more times.
It was 2 to 3 to maybe 4 more times.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Don't fucking take the ghetto exit. Don't take the ghetto." I don't know if I got to be. We're in the fucking ghetto.
We had obviously, I start going to ECW shows in Philly in '95. First, like, time or two going down, I'm like, okay, I got it. Going down, no problem. It's daylight. Mm-hmm. You just follow this. You get off on this exit. You look for this sign. You're good, right? Getting home. It's been a long day. Dark. Traffic's a little tight. 5 lanes turn into 2 lanes into 6 lanes very quickly, right?
Pretty much.
And if you're not in the left-hand lane and you're in the right-hand lane and nobody's letting you over, you're either going back home in the left-hand lane, or you're going over into Jersey, need to loop back around and pay that toll to come back, right?
Right. They make you pay to get out of Jersey.
That's right. Come on in, but you want to leave, that'll cost you. But I would say if I went to Philly from 95 to 2000, and again, conservatively 50 times, I would say at least 15 of them I ended up in Jersey on the way home, getting that stuck on that exit.
Right.
And it was just like, I forgot, couldn't get over, whatever it was, son of a bitch. So then, obviously we get into the 2000s, 2000 whatevers. We're still going down to Philly, still for wrestling, but also for like Exhumed Films and everything else like that. And to this day, Todd, when we're coming home from Philly, no matter what it is, and I see that exit coming up, and I'm like, I go, get in the goddamn left-hand lane and do not get out of it. You do not want to be right there as we go by it, because that is going to put us right back, and that's going to put us over the bridge. It's going to put us in Jersey. We're going to get dinged for another toll.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lesson learned.
I'd rather pay a toll than get shot, Joe.
There you go. Sometimes getting shot is the toll.
Right. I do have one last story. It's a story that it is Camden now, right?
Yes.
And this is the summer you, Scott, told me this story. So he goes to, and this is one of my favorite Scott stories, is he goes to, I believe it was Camden, to see a concert. And he's with, some new young lady kind of a deal. And they're going, and they're driving. They come out of the concert, and they end up going somewhere, and he's not paying attention to where he's going, and he misses the turn. And he's going into, like, Camden proper. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, fuck. Right? So he just stops in the street or whatever, because I've never been to Camden. And he pulls a Yui and just starts coming back. And all of a sudden, the cops start, the sirens are going, and they pull him over. And he pulls over, and they're like, sir, you pulled the Yui back there. Like, that's illegal. He goes, officer, coming from the concert, got distracted, missed my turn, and I realized where I was going. So I just said, fuck it, I'm making a U-turn. The cop goes, that's the correct answer? Now get out of here. Go. You're gone. Like, I don't need the paperwork kind of a deal,
Yeah.
So I always loved that.
The longer you stay here, the more paperwork I'm going to have to do.
Yep, and more likely where somebody's going to catch a stray here, I love saying that phrase. That's such a cool phrase. So hip. If I'm saying it, it's definitely.
Oh, yeah. So that's it. Patreon this week, right?
Yeah, we're doing it because I'm all confused because it's a 5-week December, but we're good.
Yep. It's just that I think when we looked at the schedule originally,
because of where Christmas falls and blah blah blah.
Yeah, we could do it next week if you wanted to.
It's up to you. I have all the time in the world.
We could do it the 1st and 15th. It's just that, like I said, and then have like the last whatever. Right. But yeah, we could do it this week. We can do it next. Everything's already out on the Patreon, the catalog and everything, right?
Right, yeah. So that's how I knew we were doing a Patreon kind of.
Yeah, let's stick with it for this week. Right. We'll do it 1st and 15th, release them as scheduled. And everyone still gets 2 episodes this month, or month of December, because that's the way it's supposed to work, right?
Right.
And then I guess I would need to drop your gift off for the gift exchange for when we record on the 19th, correct?
If that's the final Tuesday before Christmas, yes.
It is the final Tuesday before Christmas, because Christmas is a Monday this year. So, like,
what?
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah. And I may have some more scans that our scanner has for you.
Yeah.
So regardless, if I have to come down and drop that off and get a donut while I'm down there, I can do that.
Get a donut and an onion pizza and call it a day.
You know what? That's what I'm doing. I'm coming down. That, or when we do the handoff, you're buying me at the shop. You're bringing me a pizza. It wouldn't be the first time.
I'm bringing you 1 slice and 1 peanut stick, and that's it.
But it has to be from the donut shop. I tell you.
All right.
When I was down there, I went to the 2 ones with the same names.
Yes.
And they're 2 different versions of peanut sticks.
Oh, there's one that's better than the other.
Yeah, one is better than the other.
Okay.
So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, so Patreon this weekend for the $5 and up folks. December 1993. Yeah, everything's going to work itself out, right?
Yeah, it all shakes out eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
I was
going to say, I'm path of least resistance. Let's do this.
That's what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you just go with whatever I say.
The flow.
Yes. Which is the flow. I'd say the flow and you go.
Right. Flow go.
Well, there you go. All right. Hey, everybody, enough of these shenanigans. See y'all next week. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.